So this is a physical map. Physical map shows you the mountains and the rivers and those kind of things. Where you see all of the humpy looking things, those are the mountain ranges of Europe. And we're going to talk about those for just a little bit in a minute. Okay. So just pay attention to where all the mountains are in Europe. Okay. This is another physical map. The brown shows you the mountainous areas. All right. And we're going to be learning about those. And then this is a political map. Okay. This is the same one. If you'll turn in your atlas to page 102 and 103, this is the political map of Europe. So by about 4 weeks from now, you'll know all of these. So I like to learn the countries in little chunks. All right. Let me ask you a question. How do you eat an elephant? If somebody said we're going to eat an elephant, how would you eat the elephant? A little at a time. Anybody else want to say? Piece by piece, exactly. Okay. So we're going to learn our countries in what I call elephant chunks, a little bit at a time. Okay. Yeah, it might be nice to cook it too, Sophia. But we're going to do our countries in little chunks. Okay. So this week, we're going to be studying Northwest Europe. Okay. So if you know your directions, you know that north is up this way. And you know that west is this way, right? So Northwest Europe is going to be the British Isles, the Scandinavian Peninsula, and Iceland, which is over here. It's not on our map. Okay? So those are the countries that you're going to be reading about in your textbook this week. Now, I hope you noted in your assignments that we're skipping around in the textbook. So what chapter do you read this week? Let's see who paid attention. What chapter do you read this week? It's not 4. Anybody else want to help Lily out there? What chapter do you read this week? You are going to read chapter 9 this week. I think. Hang on. Yeah, chapter 9. We've got the new textbook, so I have to double check myself. Used to have them all memorized. Chapter 9 is Northern Europe, okay? So make sure that's the chapter you read this week. Now, it's too bad that we weren't in Iceland last night because the northern lights, the aurora, were amazing. I saw pictures on Facebook. If you live in the north of the U.S., there was a possibility that you could see them, but none of us live there. But last night, if you lived in like Maine or somewhere, you were supposed to be able to see the northern lights last night. But in Iceland, they definitely saw them last night. On page 191 in your textbook, at the very top, it shows a picture of the aurora borealis there in Iceland. So this week, I would like you to memorize this area right here. This is the Scandinavian area, which is Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And Iceland is also considered Scandinavian, okay? Then, I also want you to memorize Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, England, and Scotland. That's not too much, is it? You can do that. No sweat. Okay? That's all you've got to memorize this week. Be able to mark those on a map for me. Okay? So that's not going to be too bad. I think you can handle it. Okay? So what I'd like you to do for me very quickly is to label the countries that are right here. Now use your atlas. It's on page 102, 103. Label all the countries that I have circled here. Okay? You can use the text box on the screen. We'll take our break right after this, so label all of those for me. Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland. Don't forget little tiny Denmark right there. Scotland, Ireland. We need Northern Ireland, Wales, and England. And Denmark, and we're done. So there we go. England. We need Wales and Northern Ireland. And we'll have it all done. So Northern Ireland is right here. And we've got Wales is actually right here. Good. Okay. That's what you need to know this week. All right. Got it? So remember we talked about that North Atlantic drift last week that moderates the climate of Western Europe so that the winters are less cold than would normally be expected at that latitude. Without that warm North Atlantic drift, the United Kingdom and other places would be as cold as Canada because they're at that same latitude. But that North Atlantic drift brings that warm water up there, okay? So the average December temperature in London is about 2 degrees Celsius. Now, those of you who are mathematicians can figure out what that is in Fahrenheit, okay? The Gulf Stream is the most important ocean current system in the Northern Hemisphere. It goes from Florida, excuse me, all the way up into Northern Europe. Okay? Now, we're going to take our 5-minute break. So I will see you back here at 11:54. Okay?